So I would like to dedicate my time with you this afternoon to Mary Gordon. I know we all miss her. I speak French like a Spanish cow. But even I understand Colette when she says, yes, it is the dangerous hour of understanding. Mary Gordon, in her fabulous novel, Spending, brings to life the visual artist Monica Sabo and articulates in brutal detail her creative process. Through considering Gordon's exploration of the inner life of the visual artist, perhaps we can more honestly face the realities of our own artistic processes. My inspiration for today is what Gordon calls the time of dizzying possibility and sickening responsibility. Muriel Spark calls this the paradox of inspiration. My question for you today is, what sees us through? Our grit or our talent? Further, what sees through us? Our grit or our talent? I have handouts for the excerpts that I'm going to read next, but I would like for you, and you will be receiving them shortly, but I would like for you to consider them now by listening and noticing your visceral response to each one of these. And they're all from Spending. For a while, the work went quickly. I blocked the shapes on the canvas, drawing in pencil. That's a terrifying thing to do. So much is at stake, and when you're working in pencil or charcoal, everything is provisional, and yet what you lay out will have consequences that are very hard to change. A time of dizzying possibility and sickening responsibility. Over and over again, I kept asking myself the same question: what do you want to do, and how do you want to do it? It must be frightening to have to consider whether your work is really as important as you believed it was. There was only the one thing that, as a woman artist, I was occasionally stunned to remember. For most of history, no woman was allowed to do what they did. All those beautiful images, all those wonderful efforts at form and effect, none of them were done by anyone who had a body like mine. I don't know if it made a difference. I don't know how it could not. But who knows what kind of difference it made? I wasn't trying to settle a score. How could I settle a score with Michelangelo? Only to say this, calmly and with amusement: I will paint what I have seen, which is something you didn't. Sometimes the smallness of what I do shames me. To know I'm taking the risk of being ridiculous, the risk of self-delusion. The moment you finish a painting is the death of hope. You absorb your inevitable sense of failure. Did you know that the Chinese term for crisis is danger and opportunity? Erica Jong says it beautifully: the connection between courage and writing is causal. While dissecting courage, I uncovered the concept of grit. I found one definition by Daniel Pink in his book Drive. He defines grit as the perseverance and passion for long-term goals. Twyla Tharp calls it discipline. Grit is as essential to talent as high accomplishment. The beauty of grit is that the fact that something is grueling isn't the problem, it's the solution. However, you can't only have the grit, you also need the oyster shell. As Marilyn Robinson said in the very last sentence of her mind stretch, it's like the creative relationship of the pearl to the sand. Last spring, Tracy and I were trying to describe this thing of beauty called AROHO in a way that a total stranger might understand. It occurred to us that AROHO was an oyster shell. Apologies to Virginia, but the grace of an oyster shell was much more fitting than the four walls of a boxy room. In the beginning, the grit in the AROHO oyster shell was the commitment that Mary and I made to each other to inspire creative women. I am honored that in my lifetime I have witnessed the power of one pure commitment honored by two women. The AROHO pearls are the gifts of freedom, the retreats, the books, the creative works, and the lives changed. What Mary and I had imagined in 2000 here at Ghost Ranch had grown exponentially. There were many pearls, but more importantly, there was so much grit. We needed a place to hold all that grit that was gifted by AROHO women. Grit like you have shown us this week. We had a problem, or rather a moment of dizzying possibility and sickening responsibility. AROHO needed a bigger shell, a much bigger oyster shell. And we realized it would come from new women. And we trusted it would be respected in its original intention, but that change was inevitable. AROHO is a template for small groups, regional groups, and even international groups. AROHO women, Mary and I have learned, have got amazing grit. Thank you very much. And I want you to have the gift of these excerpts from Mary Gordon, and I would love for you to consider them at a private time and see how they resonate with you. My pleasure. Thank you.